I have been a productivity junkie for the last 20 years on the internet, starting with my discovery of the lifehack.org website and continuing all up through YouTubers like Ali Abdal, Tiago Forte, classic authors like Stephen Covey, and the guy who wrote Getting Things Done, David Allen. Yes, David Allen. So I've read the books, watched the videos, read the articles, listened to the podcast, followed the RSS feeds, and in the last 20 years, here are my 5 top lessons that I've learned about productivity. And lesson number 1, brains are for having ideas, not storing them long term. So this is a lesson I learned very early on in my IT career. For those who don't know me, my name is Jesse. I've been in IT for the last 23 years now. And a lesson I learned very early on is that you cannot possibly remember all the things that you have to do, especially if you have a busy a busy career, or a busy student life, or a busy home life. You can think of things you need to do all day long, but keeping them in your long-term memory is going to be harder, especially as you get older. I've just turned 40, so I'm finding it very, very difficult to remember the details and the nuances of things. So I tend to get things out of my head, and I write them down in a little pocket notebook like this one right here. And in fact, in this pocket notebook, I actually wrote down the lessons learned over 20 years of consuming productivity content. So I love these little things. I carry one with me all the time, and if I just open up to a random page, you can see that I just jot down random thoughts about things. If I have to-do items like add check to loan app query for multiple system approved notes, I work in data intelligence, so I'll occasionally jot down notes about things I have to do for my work. Here, planner setup notes I jotted down in my pocket notebook, and project brain dump. So you see here that I definitely use the pocket notebook. I don't rely on my internal memory. I like to have all my valuable ideas in external storage, and for me, that's a pocket notebook. For you, it could be the Notes app on your phone. It could be Obsidian. It could be a pocket notebook as well. In fact, maybe you're here because you love pocket notebooks like I do, and you want to hear about how I use them. Make sure you subscribe to get those videos in the future. Lesson number 2, there is no silver bullet system out there. There's not a single productivity system out there that's going to make your life easy mode, okay? Bullet journaling is a system. It's a great system. It's not going to solve every issue that you have. In fact, the last lesson here is going to be about systems again, so make sure you watch all the way through to get that. And if you're going to spend all your time hopping from system to system looking for that silver bullet, you're going to spend more time hopping around thinking about productivity than actually being productive. So I've spent 20 years, I've tried them all. Remember to milk anyone? I tried building a second brain. I've tried just running Microsoft To Do on my phone. I've tried GTD. I've tried the Stephen Covey planner, the I think it's Franklin Covey day timers. I've tried pocket calendars. I've tried everything I can to squeeze the most value out of my 24 hours a day as possible. And what I have found is that there is no silver bullet. Each system is going to have pros and cons, and you're going to have to find solutions to those cons to make a system that is a perfect fit for you. And lesson number 3, simple is best. There is elegance in simplicity. The more complicated your system, the harder it's going to be to stick to it very long term. In fact, the most simplest productivity system you can start with today is get yourself a pocket notebook, go down to your local dollar store, pick up those little pocket notebooks that look like composition books. They're cheap, they're chintzy, don't get me wrong, but it's a starting point. Grab yourself a ballpoint pen, shove it in your pocket, carry it with you. Whenever you think of something that you need to do, write it down. Whenever you have an important date coming to your mind, maybe your parents' birthday or your anniversary, or an assignment that's coming due for a class you're taking, write it down. Everything that you want to remember long term, get it into one of these. That is the simplest productivity system that you can start with today for a very minimal cost. If you have a smartphone like one of these guys, the Notes app is free. Just write down your thoughts in the Notes app. Let's not get into the debate of which is better, analog or digital. There will be future videos for that conversation. But today, if you're not doing anything and you're just relying on your memory for tracking all your to-dos, appointments, important dates, critical notes, key information, do yourself a favor and start getting those thoughts out of your head into external storage, whether it's a pocket notebook or it's a smartphone app. Take your pick, whichever one you're going to use, just do it. Give yourself a month with it, and then start tweaking things, and then start building towards that perfect built by you system. Lesson number 4. This one is a hard lesson I have learned over the last 20 years, in that it's very easy to spend more time working on your system than working your system. You can spend hours and hours and hours every single day trying different systems, optimizing different systems, trying to find that silver bullet, and it's very easy to lose sight of what is important, and that is getting things done, acting on those valuable ideas that you're having. You can't change your life if you never act on one of your ideas. In fact, I have been procrastinating starting this YouTube channel for over a year now. That's right, I've been jotting up video ideas, I've been planning, I've been thinking for over a year now, and I'm finally now just taking action, because I realize that you can't change your life if you don't take action. So stop worrying about optimizing and min-maxing your productivity system, and just worry about taking action on those valuable ideas that are going to have life-changing effects for you. And finally, this brings me to my last lesson that I have learned, and that is the only perfect system out there is the one you build from scratch. Yes, studying systems is important. Learning how bullet journaling works, learning how getting things done works, learning how building a second brain works is important, because then you can pick and choose pieces of these different systems and put it together into a perfect system for you. For example, I love Parker Sedecase's YouTube channel. Okay, Park Notes. I'll link it down below. Absolutely love his channel. I love his advice that he gives. But one thing that I found that doesn't work for me is using commonplace books for tracking my knowledge. In fact, I use a technique published by Scott Shepard, the analog Zettelkasten, or the Antinet as he calls it. I don't like the term Antinet, but that's a different story. We'll get into that later. But I use note cards and file in a note card box to track all my important notes from the videos I watch and the books I read and the podcasts I listen to, those kind of notes that I take, those thoughts that are inspired by those sources, as well as thoughts directly from those sources. I capture them all into note cards and I file them in a note box. I also use a pocket journal as a catch-all notebook, and finally I use a regular A5 journal as a bullet journal, where I keep track of to-dos and appointments and all that stuff. So I've taken a little bit of every system that I've come across so far, and I've kind of rolled it all up into my own deal. And for me, that works great, because that's a perfect system for me. I can teach you how I do things, but it's not going to be perfect for you. You're going to have to come up with your own system. You need to put these systems through their paces, trial them by fire, keep what works, reject what doesn't, and fill in the blanks with your own, to paraphrase Bruce Lee. That's probably one of the most powerful quotes I've ever come across. And I've written it down in this notebook, I think, several different times to remind myself of it. So the last most important lesson here is to go ahead and just build your own perfect system, right? Take a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of column C, roll it all together, and that is your system. Start simple. Start with one of these, and one of these, roll your own system from there. Just start writing stuff down, and as you come across things like, you know what, I really wish I would be able to, let me find a random page here. Pocket notebooks versus marginalia for extracting notes from reading. I really wish I could find these thoughts again easily. Well then, find a solution. Maybe it's a topical commonplace book, maybe it's a Zettelkasten, maybe it's a digital note-taking app that you can search, something. But build your own system from the ground up, tailor to your needs, and it will be the perfect system for you. I hope you enjoyed these 5 lessons that I've learned from 20 years of binging productivity content. Yeah, that's a long time. And yes, if you're wondering to yourself, did the internet exist 20 years ago? It did. I assure you, we've had the internet in the 1900s, because that's the era I'm from. I am, like I said, I just turned 40, so I was alive in the 1900s. I started my productivity journey right around the turn of the century, and that makes me feel so old. But check out this video right here, because you're probably going to like it too. And if you want, subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.